tennis camera. I'm super excited about this, but I'm also very nervous, and I'm also gonna try my best not to get nerd out about this system. Because I tend to be, because I want to overshare and show how amazing, like, oh my God, it can do this, it can do that. But for some people, it could be a little bit overwhelming. So I had to practice to be like, Kels, we're gonna keep it simple. Tonight, we're gonna keep it super simple. And one thing that you guys are also gonna see is just like why I got to this system. Like, why did I choose this platform? Why did I build it out? Because who here has ever used what is it called? Go High Level. It's a pain in the ass. But it's like this perfect system. I love it because it can do so many things and you have everything in one place. I really love it. But I don't have the patience for it. I just do not. And I'm not that techie or experienced to set up the workflows and the automation, but everything I wish I could have a very colorful, very pretty system that's just like Go High Level. I hope that one day though, they become very colorful and very user-friendly, because then that would be amazing. But I started using Go High Level and I was like, oh my God, I just can't, I don't have the patience to do it. And I just got frustrated and I switched over and used something else. And then I built this amazing system. And then guess what I had to do? Shut down that system and go to another software. And I'm like, come on. But I've learned a very, I would say, valuable lesson. I'm glad I went through those processes, because then the software that I'm using now, I'm like, I went through all the systems, so I know what is it that I'm looking for and what the system should be able to do as well. And a lot of times for us is like, we want the perfect system right away, but you will never find it ever. And I know deep down that I'm gonna possibly might have to give up this system eventually, because as I grew, my business grow, my needs are gonna change. I'm gonna want different automation. So who knows? I may have to switch back to Go High Level, So one thing I want you guys to take away from this after it's all said and done is that you don't need to have the perfect system. It's all about getting back your time, doing something that works for you, spend time with it. Because also we run down the best system, the fanciest system, and we get it and we get so overwhelmed and we give up. Or we get the system, everything is built in for us, and we don't commit the time to use it. We're still doing stuff manually, which kind of really defeats the purpose. I mean, I still do it sometimes where I'm like, you have a reminder. Why are you putting it in your calendar? And it's a part of growth as well to realize that, to be like, oh, hey, system, break out the habit, break it out, go put it in there. And I'm so glad I'm aware of that when it's happening, to know that I need to go put this in the system. And that's how we grow and become better as business owners, as entrepreneurs. We beat ourselves up because we need to be perfect. And I'm learning that we're not perfect at all. We're on this journey of entrepreneurship where there's no blueprint. Trust me, there is not. You can get guidance. You learn from that someone else's blueprint and you add your flavor to it. You're going to experience a whole different set of issues, and you're going to come up with your solution that can even benefit someone else who is not at the level where you're at. And that's what I want to do, is just share with you guys what I've learned, everything that I'm doing. And if you guys should know me, not if you should, some of you should know me, I only share things that I've done. I'm not going to share things where I hear other people talk about. If they talk about it, I am going to try it for myself. And if I try it, I'm going to be like, oh, I like this. I can build on this. Oh, I do not like this. This is not for me. So everything that I share with you guys, even tonight, the issues that I've gone through, the results, it's mine. I'm not saying you guys are going to get guaranteed success using this. It just kind of come down to what level of commitment you put in and your effort. So who's excited? I know I've been yapping. I feel inspired. Let's go. Okay. All right. Awesome. Actually, I want to ask one question. You guys can drop it in the chat as well, in terms of like, yes, we hear automate your PML outreach. But what is that like one problem that you guys are facing while you're here, where you're like, I want to really see what this outreach is about when it comes on to raising money, when it comes on to managing your leads, you have a bunch of people in your contacts, wherever you have them, what is your biggest roadblock, hiccups, obstacle right now that you're facing? Drop them in the chat. I want to see that right now. Because we're all here for a specific reason. We're experiencing something. We don't have time to waste. You value your time. I also value my time. So you're definitely here because you're experiencing an issue and you're looking for a solution. Follow up with leads, man, girlfriend. Listen, that follow-up game, your follow-up game gotta be strong. Like so strong. People talk about it, but it is so crucial. That's where you find deals. Keeping track of their needs and wants. Yes, that is also very, very important because especially if you're talking to so many different people, it's hard to keep track of like, oh shit, I talked to this person 6 months ago. What were they looking for again? Where did I meet them? Where's their money coming from? Oh, I need to remember something special. So when I follow up, I can like remember like that conversation that we had so they don't think that, oh, they're just a lead. Honestly, deep down, I know they're just a lead, but it's always adding that personal touch that truly makes a difference. Outreach and follow up, yes. The consistency factor, that is so crucial. And you guys got to realize that as you grow, as you scale, consistency is very, very important. It is extremely important. And I think that is where you see really good capital raisers or people who just wannabes. So whatever stage that you're at, like you have to truly commit. If you want to see results, if you're not seeing the results that you want, ask yourself, be honest, criticize yourself. Have you been consistent? Have you committed the time with nurturing those leads? Steven said, just making sure I keep up with follow-up in general, whether I have a deal or market to market or not, want to remain top of mind to all my partners. I love that, really. And that's what I use Monday for. I think, Steven, you have a portion of the system as well, is just that whole follow-up game, just keeping track of everything, because as we grow and you're dabbling to so many different things, your brain can handle so much and no more. You guys ever seen that like memes where like life as an entrepreneur, like the moment you go in bed, you remember something, you're like, it's just your brain just running the amount of things that you have to do tomorrow, later, but your brain can handle so much. And this is why people get better systems or even assistants. But if you guys don't have an assistant, you will get there. It's not impossible, right? Looking at how to automate your PML outreach, because the goal is, right? We want to work smarter, not harder. Listen, things are changing. There's no more manual stuff. We're not going to get 36 hours in a day. It will still remain 24 hours. And as we grow, we just have to find a way, how can we maximize that 24 hours that we have? Full disclaimer. I almost said disclaimer. Full disclaimer. Again, oh my gosh, Habibi. Full disclaimer is that the information I'm providing in this entire webinar is only for educational purposes only, guys. I do not guarantee any specific income or results. Everything that I'm sharing is just from my experience as well, the whole platform that I'm using on Monday. You are responsible if you do decide to get it, or I'm giving that away as well. Did I even say that? Okay, let me even come back. Okay, you guys are responsible for your subscription. Everything is that. Do you guys agree? Just say aye. Unmute. Aye. I need it for the record. Like,
Aye.
yes. Thank you. Okay, good. You guys should get used to this if you're always on my webinars. I'm full disclaimer because I don't want nobody to come around and sue me. Okay. All right. So what we'll cover in this webinar is that the number one reason capital raisers struggle, right? Why inconsistent follow-up costs you deals, and I'm going to give you solutions on how to fix it. The biggest mistakes in PML outreach, right? Stop losing lenders due to manual tracking and poor management, because that is where a lot of us fall short. We have the leads, we do have the leads, but we are manually tracking them as well. How automation transform your business. We're going to show you how you can save time, nurture leads, and close more deals effortlessly. Then we're also going to do a live demo. So I'm going to walk you guys through the entire system, how it works, how pretty it looks. I'm going to keep emphasizing that because I love colors. I'm just a visual person. If you hate graphs and all that stuff, Like, I love graphs. I like looking at my business and be like, okay, show me graphs. What do I need to fix? What do we look like? Give me a high level overview of everything. Right. So I'm going to show you guys a live demo. Going to show you guys why I think you need this. Well, not I think, but if you fit are experiencing some of those issues, the problems that I stated, the problems that you stated in the chat, why I think this can help you increase your automation and how it can make you scale faster as well. And also do an exclusive giveaway. One lucky attendee, you can't jump in the webinar and disappear and come back at the end. I'm going to give you this entire system for free. Who doesn't like free? Huh. Like you get in this full disclosure again, you'll be responsible for your Monday subscription, but you'll be getting every single thing that I'm going to show you. So you shouldn't have to be complaining after this if you win, because no excuses. No, like I don't got time. I didn't do this. At this point, it's just going to be you finding leads and following up. All right. Then we're going to do a Q&A as well. So if you guys have questions about automation, the entire system, how it works, that's where the Q&A will come in. So we will jump right into it. And I want to share with you guys my challenges before automation, right? I didn't get here just out of the blue as well. When I started capital raising, I was doing the traditional way. I was doing a Google form and all that stuff. And it was like talking to a bunch of people, right? So before I was manually tracking my leads on spreadsheets, notebooks. Some of us are still doing that. But then we're making all these notes. We have everything on Excel spreadsheet, which like this was what my Excel sheet looked like at the beginning. But then I got so overwhelmed because there was so much leads and I would put that I need to follow up, but I forget to go in and follow up. Imagine if there was a lead I was supposed to follow up with next week and maybe I was traveling. I forgot to follow up with that lead. And then the notes section, like I can filter, but I need to send emails constantly. I need to be doing that. I need to keep track of all those leads. And because of this, I was manually tracking leads, it was so inconsistent for me. I was very inconsistent with following up. I'm gonna be straight up honest. I had a bunch of leads, but I was just not following up, and it led me to have missed so many different opportunities. Opportunities meaning if someone's like, hey, I got money coming in a month, yes, I'm gonna make note of that. But then when I do remember, I'm like, oh shit, he just got money back in a month. And when I saw that, it would be like a week after when I reached out. I'm like, hey, how's everything going? He's like, man, Kalisha, I just deployed the money. I was like, really? Really? And I was like, that's a missed opportunity, right? Because we don't have a system. And I just spent so much hours like looking for leads instead of closing deals. And a lot of us are like that. When it comes on to raising money, it's always, how do I find people? How do I find people? Where do I find people? But then you have all these leads and you don't do anything with them. You store them in your phone. You store the business cards. I have a whole stack of pile of business cards, which I do. I still do, but I use those leads. You're not doing anything with them, right? Some of you are still have Google form and you look like this. Your form looks just like that. And you're not even following up. What's the point? Are you storing data? Are you like, what do they call it? Cloud storing information for what? What's the point of it to collect all these leads? I strongly believe it's certain things, it's quality over quantity. You can have 1,000 leads but they don't serve any purpose. But if you spend time to nurture that 1,000 lead, maybe from that 1,000, you break it down, you nurture that lead to start qualifying those leads to be like, okay, out of that 1,000, 800 is a little bit interested. You know, some of them were spam, some of them were hard money lenders, some of them were not serious, some of them they don't have money. So I cut it out. Then I keep doing a follow-up. And it's like from that 800, I cut it down. 500 are actually serious lenders. And this is the importance of having leads and categorizing your leads, because out of the 1,000 people, it's not a guarantee all of them are solid private money lenders. And if you're in the raising capital space, you are going to realize that as well. All right. This system has helped me raise over $3 million. Before I had Monday, and a little bit background, just who I am. I like staying organized. That's how my brain function. I'm always doing so many different things. So if I'm not organized, I'll get miserable and I get annoyed and frustrated and I just cannot focus. So I had to find a system to keep everything organized. Did I go straight to Monday? No. I started with Excel, just as I showed you before. And when I started with Excel, I was like, okay, my business is growing. I now need to treat this as a business and no longer a side hustle. I need to show these people that I'm talking to that I'm very professional and everything that I'm saying, I can execute that. And that forced me to level up and be a business owner and not just treat this as a side hustle. So I transitioned over from Microsoft Forms and switch over to ClickUp, right? And I'm cheap. So I used to do free trials and put free trials on different accounts on ClickUp, and I maxed that out until they're like, oh, no more automation. No, they have like a limitation like of how many things that you can create. I maxed that out. And I did find a way to cheat the system, but after I maxed that out, I had to make a commitment to be like, Kalisha, what do you want? You want to keep being cheap and go back to your old ways, or are you going to commit to this subscription? I committed to that subscription, hardest decision of my life, which was, I think, like, guys, it was like 20 something bucks. Imagine that. I was cheap, being cheap out of that 20 something bucks. And I was so glad I got the subscription because there was no more limitations from it. It allowed me to grow so much and keep stuff organized. And I think I was just growing so fast. And the more I stay organized, the more opportunities started coming. And I just became so confident because I'm like, oh, I have a system now. I get these leads. I have a system. I'll funnel them into the system. It gives you a level of confidence. Like I can't explain it, but it gives you that confidence to keep doing what you're doing. And when I built a system, I think the first 3 to 6 months of using automation, I was able to manage and nurture over 87 quality private money lenders. I don't get, what do you call it, excited when people are like, I know someone with $1 million. No, again, I can meet 100 people, but out of that 100, if I qualify, if I get 25 solid people, I'm happy. I am very happy. And I mentioned quality leads because did I only have 87 persons in my funnel? No. I say quality because of the amount of leads that got in, I was able to check, were they spam? Were they scam, hard money lenders? Were they not serious? Did they stop responding? Because you're going to have leads who just stop responding to you. But 87 people, after following up and having conversations like, hey, I am ready to invest. And those people invested. That's a win for me just by going through those leads. I was able to track my main lead source. So I spend more effort on that platform or whatever that lead source is. What does that mean? If I was meeting more, if I track my entire leads and be like, majority of these people came from networking event. So that means I need to go to more networking events. Majority of those people came from an online group that I'm a part of. So that means I'm going to spend more time in that group. If it's a specific social media platform, I'm going to spend more time on that. So having that system allows you to make really good decisions because you have data to back it. You're not going off a whim. Yes, you may like Instagram, but if majority of your leads are coming on Facebook, how does it make sense for you to still focus on Instagram? Take that effort and energy that you're putting into Instagram, go take it on Facebook. And I guarantee you'll double or triple that lead source that you're already getting from Facebook. My follow-up rate increased significantly just because of simple automatic reminders. That goes a long way because if I don't remember to follow up with my lender, like the systems follow up with them. The system reminds me that, hey, you need to follow up with this person, right? And I can strategize, I can fine tune how I want that reminder to be, right? If I want to set them up on a pipeline as well, right? So that allowed me to secure more capital and do intentional relationship building. See, I stress that word intentional. I'm not just following up to say, hey, following up. No, it's like you're treating me as like a lead. I mean, they are a lead, but you know what I'm saying? Like, be intentional with those relationship building. And I close an average of 6 gap funding deals per month, valuing over 300,000. That's when I just started, right? And that now allowed me, as I grew my business, to be like, okay, if you did 6 deals per month, value at this amount, in order, if you want to double that, what do you need to do? Again, I'm not going off a whim. I am going off data, because now I want to scale and I have the data to show me. So I'm able to see as well. Remember, I mentioned I am a visual person. I want to be able, if I'm seeing all these tables, I can also see a graph, right? How many persons do I need to follow up with? From the month of December, January, how many leads came into my pipeline? And that's how this entire system allowed me to focus on things that make sense. Focus on, if persons are like, hey, I'm not ready right now, I'm not going to spend time nurturing that, like full following up every single week. No, maybe I'm going to follow up like every month, every 3 weeks, because they're like, hold on, I'm not ready yet, but they're still a lead. I'm still nurturing that lead until I close them, or until they're like, nope, not interested. I mentioned platform. I'm able to see where are they coming from. When I just started, those were the only platforms I was using. I wasn't even tracking my networking events as much, because I thought it wasn't important. But I realized once I started doing that, I'm like, oh, majority of my leads came from this specific networking event, which means this is my target audience that I need to go to when I'm looking for networking events, and now become more intentional. And so going back, that the problem that most capital raisers struggle with when doing PML outreach is that the common mistakes people make is that inconsistent follow-up. You guys said it. Leads forget about you. Someone who has money, you know how many persons trying to get them to say yes to a deal, especially if they're not in the real estate space. They're gonna be like, who is this person? Oh, I met them at a networking event. But who are you? If you're in, let's say, the hospitality space, and you're not regularly communicating with them, and you send them an email and you text them, who are you? You reach out to them one time, and then you reach out to them 6 months after, who are you? Where did you get my number? They're going to forget about you. Think about it. We're on the internet. There's so much things trying to get our attention. So that's why marketing is so crucial. That's why you keep seeing the same ads over and over, and then you remember. Because if they want to show you to one, like I'm an Amazon person. And if you go on my Amazon, in my Instagram, whatever it is, when Amazon show me ads, they're all home stuff. And every single time they get me, am I buying anything? No, I'm not. But I click that link and add it to my cart. And every time I add it to my cart, guess what they do? They start showing me more stuff relating to what I like. And then I keep going back and adding. It's the same thing. You have to be in front of your leads all the time, right? A lot of times you're manually tracking leads. You're wasting time. So many missed opportunities. And you're like, I don't know lenders, yet I guarantee you have 100 people in your contacts. Wherever you're storing your leads, you have 100 people, but you have no clue if that 100 people is ready to lend with you, yes or no. You have no clue if you had a conversation with them. You have no clue, when was the last time you had a conversation with them? We need a system. You're not running a side hustle. This is a business. And until we get that in our head, like, I'm running a business, and people with money are going to feel more comfortable, because they're like, oh, you're not just doing this as a side hustle. You're serious about this. I kid you not, it will change everything, right? And the cost of inefficiency, right? You're missing out again on ready to invest lenders because of your slow responses. I've had that. It hurt my heart so much, so much. And I think it was I'm raising capital for a deal, and I had a lead, right? They didn't fill up my intake form. They found me and we had a conversation. Stupid me forgot to put it in my pipeline. I did not put it in my pipeline. And I'm like scrambling. I need money. I need this amount of money. I met someone, had a conversation with them last week, who was ready to invest. When I messaged them, guess what? The money was gone. She deployed that money. And it was a simple mistake, because I forgot to go in. I was like, I'll do that later. I took notes, everything, because it was so prompt. I took notes, and I forgot to put that lead in the pipeline. Did I forget about that lead now that she's funded? Nope. I put her back in my pipeline because even though she told me that she has X amount of money, what I've learned a lot of times they have more money. And at least once they are paid back, they could think about me, about reinvesting with me. So even if their funds are not with me, they could still be a potential lead. We spend so much hours chasing deals instead of closing them because we're always looking for money all the time. But if you have a system and you're able to better manage your time. Okay, on Monday, I'm going to be looking for deals. On Tuesday, I'm going to check in my pipeline. Who do I need to follow up with? So now you're becoming more intentional as well with your leads. And then you don't lose money because you're not nurturing those relationships. I met someone today and they were selling my business. And I was like, wait, how do you know so much? They're like, oh, I get your emails. I'm like, you do? This person's not in the real estate space. They're in the cleaning business. Cleaning. And I was like, she's like, girl, I get all your emails. And it's like, why don't you unsubscribe? You're like, are you crazy? She's like, I'm learning so much. And then I can refer people to you with what you're doing. And she's like, this is something I want to do with my husband and I, but we're just going to build up more capital. Again, this is someone I met at a networking event, not in the real estate space. I just want to add them to my pipeline to stay top of mind. Now, how many of you have let potential lenders slip through the cracks? There's no shame in your game. There's none. Oh, Ken is like me. Ken was like, I have one the other day, and it was not my first. It was not the third one, right? There is a lot of us. It just happens, okay? And that's just natural. But for 100 people that you meet, 5 of them are gonna get lost through the cracks. We're humans. We make mistakes. Systems aren't perfect, right? Now, automating your PML outreach with this whole system that I have, it will allow you to like never manually follow up again. I mentioned follow up. Everything's gonna be whoop, automated. That you're gonna get to the point of like, okay, I should be doing something. Why do I feel like I'm missing something? You know that feeling of you're always go, 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 but when you put systems in, the system is working for you. You're like, wait, anxiety. I used to be like, I gotta do this, but then your system is working for it. And it's like you give it so much peace of mind, but like, oh, I'm growing. I got a system now that's working. I don't need to be doing all this stuff. I could take that time and energy into doing something else, right? So I'm going to show you guys my funnel, my lead system. Some of you are familiar with Connector Organizer that I have that covers just the deal flow and a basic outreach of keeping track of leads. This system is it's super advanced. It's go deep into follow-up because that is crucial, right? It will allow you to capture your leads, of course, automate your follows via email and reminders so you never forget to follow up, and also help you nurture future leads and so much other stuff. I promise myself not to get super nerd out with this. I'm going to keep it super simple. So who's ready for a live demo? Woohoo! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I am talking about. I love seeing that. Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna show you guys, here you go, a live demo. Oops, where are you? See, this is where I'm never really good at this. I'm gonna walk you through from start to finish, and I'm not gonna cover every single thing, but I'm also gonna show you some additional stuff as well. Everything is a funnel, you guys. If you trying to buy something, you ever like you go shopping and they're like, oh, can you give us your email? And I'm like, for 5% off, because they want your data. Because if they have your data, when they ask you for your email, that's lead capture. Then they now have you in their system and they can market to you. You always need to have a lead capture source. And for our line of business, one of the main things is going to be a private money lending intake form. So with the entire system, it starts here. So from the intake form, they want, based on the information that they fill out, it goes into different pipelines. And what I love with this intake form is that once someone fills it out, it automatically categorizes them into tables based on the questions. I don't have to do that. Google Form does, they do this, but guess what? I'm not able to do emails and all that stuff and reminders, all right? And then that way, if I also want to be like, okay, based on the number of leads that came into my pipeline, I can go to chart view and I could see how many people fill out the value of leads that are filled out my intake form. I tell you, I am a visual person. So if you're just like me, this is perfect. I could see the value of deals that I've raised. And this is just soft commitments, just people who fill out a form, right? And that will give you the confidence when people start asking you about capital raising, asking you about your experience. You have your data and you can confidently say, I've had about 670,000 in soft commitments right now, because you have the information, right? You're able to see, again, where is my lead source from the intake form? You can categorize it by month. How many leads came through for the month of January? How many leads came through for the month of August? You can see that. And based from the intake form, this is like my baby right now. Because what I'm going to show you guys right now is what I get super excited about. It's like so colors. It's so much colors. It looks so pretty. And I'm like, oh, you know, like when the heaven opens and like, oh, like this is what it's going to show now. Voila. But no, look how pretty that is. Sorry, I'm just a colors person. I don't need to know how to do fancy formulas and all that stuff. I do not. Okay. I'm also all about keeping things simple. I don't need to keep it complicated. I'm not trying to get someone to trying to convince them to buy a house, you know? So I don't need to do all that stuff. I'm trying to build a relationship with people and intentionally doing it, right? So when leads come in, they all go into this group called prospects. And it's pulling information from the intake form. And guess what? Based on what they select, if they're like, hey, I'm ready to invest right now, they will go in a follow-up sequence automatically. If they're like, I'm ready to invest in 6 months, they go in a different follow-up sequence that is spread out. So my follow-up, I'm not sending them an email every single day. If they're like, I will be ready to invest in 6 months, they go in a cold lead follow-up. That means I'm maybe sending them emails every 5 days. 5 days and then 12 days. And then, you have to stagger it out because you're trying to get them interested. They automatically go in those sequences, and I'm able to keep track to be like, what stage are they at? Did they schedule a call with me, right? If they schedule a call with me, guess what? I see it right here. I know when they schedule that meeting, right? I can see all of that. I know how much money they have, right? I know what sequence that they're in. I know when that lead was created. So I'm able now to keep track to be like, okay, I went to this networking event. I went to this Zoom. I did X amount of outreach for January and I got 100 leads. Bam, I need to do the same thing for February. And then 6 months from now, you can look back and be like, oh, what happened in January? I had a ton more leads. I had 100 leads in January, but in April, you only had 5 leads. What happened, Kalisha? I could be like, Kalisha, life was life in, okay? Life was life in. So I can always go back and track to be like, what really happened? Why my lead flow was so low? And then when I have meetings with those persons, once I keep changing the funnels, the stages that they're at, guess what? It automatically moves. And then this is something, because it automatically moves, it's now start building it to another pipeline. And this is where things get crazy, and you can keep building and building and building, because if you see a lot of leads coming in, then you can go off and be like, my business now needs this follow-up. It needs another level of follow-up. It doesn't make sense to try to create this whole perfect system and you're not running into an issue yet. Do what's working for you now. This is what's working for me now. I want to keep it super simple, right? If I have a call with them and that call went in and I was like, okay, they're like, hey, reach out to me this time, I can simply do follow-up. And I will put in the date that I need to follow up with them. And then what the system will do is send me a reminder to follow up with them, because I put the date when I need to follow up. And it will still show me that, hey, they're in a sequence, I can always check what stage at the sequence are they at. Did they open the email? I can see all of that. Yeah. Did they unsubscribe? And guess what I love with this? And I think it's also maybe it's a good and a bad thing about Monday. When you send emails from Monday, it goes straight into their inbox. With that limitation, you're not able to do really fancy emails. If you go the route of, if you want fancy emails, then you go to other platforms like MailChimp and all that stuff. But there's a high possibility that those emails are going to go into promotions or spam. I love Monday when I send emails, it's going directly through them. And I can make it super personal just by sending through Monday, right? If they are now ready to invest, oh, I love money and I love emojis. I tell you guys, it got to be pretty, right? If I'm like, okay, I have a conversation with them, they're ready to invest, I get an email alert to say, hey, this lead is ready to invest. Find a deal for them to deploy. And that way, if I'm looking for a lender to invest in a deal, I can go to my chart, or I can even filter. I can filter to say, show me everyone who I close them, right? And they're ready to invest. Show me everyone in that pipeline. Then I can go in and send them an email. What does that mean? So if I go here, filter, and I'm like, listen, show me everyone who, this is a stage, at the stage where I want. They're at the one stage. See, it filters it out. So if now I want to send an email, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit this and I'm going to do mass email and send them an email of a deal that I'm raising capital for. If I created a new sequence in terms of following up, let's say I've closed those persons and 6 months from now, I still haven't deployed their money, I can like add them to a sequence to follow up. I'm like, send email 1 to see if they're still interested in lending, or if they deploy their money. Send email 2, all those stuff, it can be done. Because I have the data and the information, I'm categorizing every single lead. I'm not bulking everyone together. I am categorizing them and I'm keeping it super simple, right? And then if it's that I know, which there should be another column here, I don't know what group that's missing. Once they have deployed money, right? I move them to a stage to say deployed, funds deployed. And once I move them to the stage that says funds deployed, then I move them to my CRM. So a lot of times we move them straight to the CRM and we forget about them, that they have money to invest. So I keep them here. So I only move them from this group only if they've lent me money. If they haven't invested with me, I'm like, oop, that's still a potential lead. They're ready to go. So I'm going to be on them. And based on their responses, if they're like, hey, I'm ready to lend right now, then they become a hot lead. If they're ready to lend in, I think like 3 to 6 months, they become a warm lead. If they're ready in 6+ months or 12 months, they become a cold lead. Again, I don't want to lose my leads. We tend to put everything in one, and then it's hard to categorize them. So that's what I do. I'm able, again, if I don't, I'm going to clear this filter out, clear all, right? I can clear this filter out, and then I'll go to my pipeline. If I want to see a different view as well. Here's a different view. How many leads are in your initial outreach? How many leads do you need to follow up with? And I'm seeing an overview, like I need to follow up with James, right? James is in the follow-up stage. He has $50,000 looking to lend right now. I met him at a networking event. I need to follow up with him next January 1st, which is already gone. But it shows the next contact there. And if I'm like, did I actually follow up with James? Did an email automation went in? Guess what? I can click James tab and I can go to updates. I can go here and I see all the things that happen, all the emails that were sent to James. If I want to come in here, I can see all the automations that was sent to James to see if it's working, right? But this is my favorite part. Anything relating to James, I can see it here. I can see meetings that we have, and I can do so much more. Again, keeping it super simple. If I need to have someone from my team send out a special email to James, I can go here in updates and tag someone on my team to be like, hey, can you send this to James? I can do that, right? And this is why I love having everything in one place as well. I can see a chart view too. Here's how many warm leads I have. Here's how many hot leads I have. Here's the value of leads in my pipeline. I love seeing these things so I can make a decision, right? I have 2 leads that are in initial outreach, right? Sequences. I'm running different follow-up sequences. I can see how many have completed. And I can go in here and show me all the leads that completed a sequence. And each sequence, break it down. I'm able to see all of that. So if you're like a chart person or you want to see this version of it, the view, there are different ways how to view it as well. See why I love this? I love colors. This is just me. It helps me to stay organized, have everything in one place, right? And then I'm able to see a capital raise dashboard. This is also another thing as well. So you have different charts. Even though you're seeing the same charts, you can go anywhere and see it, right? So I'm able to see how many leads came in for this month. I got 19 people for January. And this is how you can truly keep yourself accountable. We all talk about we need to connect with lenders. We need to do outreach to lenders. Yeah, that's all talk. How many lenders do you need to connect with? How many did you connect with last week? What did you do with those 15 you connected with last week? Here, you're able to see from that 15 you connected with last month, you know where they came from. You know if you're following up with them. You know if they're ready or not. So we need to get into the business that we're in is sales and marketing. Yes, it's capital raising, it's sales and marketing. If you're not trying to convince people to invest with you, you gotta be marketing. That's what you're doing. You're sales. You're convincing people to invest with you, but the vehicle is through real estate. It's lending through real estate. You're convincing them. You're showing them why this is a great opportunity. And marketing is crucial because now you have to keep being in front of them. So if you're not doing either or, then you wonder how you're not raising money. You're wondering how you're not building those relationships. But the truth of the matter is, like, are you keeping track of your leads? Any big business owner that you guys follow or inspired by, they're going to tell you they have a system. I love Grant Cardone marketing system. I love Pace's sales and marketing system. I get in our email campaigns. I get inspired when I see how they capture leads from start to end. If they're giving away something free, I'm like, yep, take my info because I want to see how your funnel is set up. Because once you grow, once you start developing that mindset of growing, it's no longer I have 10 leads. Now I got 100 people and now you increase your sales. This is your sales right here. This is your sales number. You're not selling a product. The money you raise, that's your sales. That's your credibility. Hey, I've raised $1.75 million. That's your credibility right there. And this is why I love having this dashboard, because I can also take a screenshot of it and send it to investors. If I'm asked to speak at an event, I can share these info as well. Hey, I've done this. I'm not just talking. Even if it's 500,000 you've raised, I've done this. And a lot of us consider ourselves as newbies when you've raised more than 500,000 and you still go around and tell people that you're completely new, not realizing that you've raised 500,000. Do you know how much people will be so happy to raise $500,000? Ken, perfect example. When you raise money from that guy on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
if someone, that's insane. Right? So if someone even asks you like, hey, how much money have you raised? They're like, up, 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 up. You can confidently say, I've raised $2 million. And I've raised $2 million from 4 people. Because you have the data to back it. And a bonus that for persons who get this funnel, and even if you get this for free, I gotta look in the time because I'm a talker, see, is a LinkedIn source tracker. This is what I now use a company for the outreach because I'm doing so much. But when I started, this was what my team was using. They go in, they put in the lead info, their job title, company, their profile link, when they sent a message, did they respond? If they express interest, if they didn't respond, I did a first follow-up. And they're able to keep track and go in. Because then now, guys, when you have this system, it's easy for you to confidently hire. So if you go get a VA to work for you 6 hours for the week, and you're paying them $5 an hour, you're like, hey, I'm hiring you to do lead gen. Here's a system that I have. Here's how you're going to do outreach on LinkedIn. Log them in here. And then you can truly track what your virtual assistant is doing. So these manual tasks, I did them. I got to a point where like, I no longer want to do that. Now, Kelly, should get up your comfort zone and hire. Because this task is very crucial, but it's taking up so much of your time. Go hire VA can do this. And I got a ton of leads on this. Now I have VAs who just focus on lead source. I have the system. So if it's Facebook, I have a VA focus heavily on that, doing that. But at the end of the day, I did it before. And because I did it myself and used this system, it was easier for me to teach them what to do because I'm showing them something. So you get all of this as well. Again, you can see how many leads from LinkedIn. You did an initial outreach as well. So like Ken, if you're still doing LinkedIn outreach, this would be perfect for you to keep track of all those people as well. You have like, you get a whole outreach guide of, oh my eyes. I had to go through and copy everything that I was doing and put it in here. How I structure my bio on LinkedIn, the keywords I search for on LinkedIn, how I filter leads on LinkedIn, the messages I send for outreach on LinkedIn, all of this is included. But the key is it isn't follow-up. So I share all these stuff. See, I have day 7, day 14, follow-up. Now, this portion of it is manual because it's LinkedIn. Until you get to a point where you want to outsource to a bigger company, you can do that. But this, again, if you have the time and you don't have the budget, do it. Get the practice in. See what the responses are like, because once you see the responses for yourself, you know how to take this and tweak it to fit your style and your profile. Now I'm able to go in and be like, okay, do I need to change my messaging? Why is I can come back in here and be like, why is my, what do you call it? Why is the response status a bunch of not interested? Why? Right? And then I can make a decision. I need to adjust my filters. I may need to adjust my messaging. And then I'm going to test it out for another 30 to 60 days and see if there's an improvement. And if there's an improvement, we're like, oh, it was really my messaging, that the way how I structure the message was the issue. So we tend to try things for a week, and because it doesn't work, we're like, let's switch it. No, you give things 30 to 60 days for it to fully see if it's working. Even if you know it's shit, I mean, you're going to try a little bit and tweak it. But if you just go all in and just commit and keep doing it, that's how you will be able to have a better idea of what's working and what's not working. Of course, what's a funnel if you don't have a contact sheet? That's perfect. You can filter things out once your contacts are in here. You get to connect your Calendly. I schedule a lot of my meetings through Calendly, so I'm able to see all my meetings that are scheduled through Calendly, the link. If they cancel the meeting, I can see that they canceled. So they initially booked, but they canceled. I can see if they rescheduled the meeting. I can come back in here and be like, done. I had this meeting, finito. Let's see what's happening. And this is just a bonus as well. Once someone fills out your Calendly, it kind of creates like a whole contact sheet for them as well. So you can like know when did you have this meeting with this person? Where did they come from? Which link did they use? Yada, 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 yada. All right. Lastly, you get a bunch of like resources. So like how I structure my calls when I'm talking to PMLs. Again, I'm always in control of that conversation. So my calls are 15 to 20 minutes. So I structure the calls for 15 to 20 minutes. I want to get certain information in. I don't want to yap about how the day was. That's standard, but I don't want to keep yapping about unnecessary stuff. That's pointless, right? You also get like a bunch of frequently asked questions that lenders ask, the questions and the answers. So you can always use those as a resource to even share with your network of investors, or a commonly asked question that you get and you don't know the answer to. They're all here. And you just get a bunch of instructions and all that good stuff. So that's a little bit about the demo. I love it. And I hope whoever wins this will love it as much as I love it, because it's so amazing. All right. So I share that as well with the demo. Are you guys seeing the live demo portion of it? Okay. So I share that, and you need this funnel, and this may not be for everybody because depending on what stage that you're at. So this is where you're going to have to really ask yourself, where do I want to go for 2025? Am I really serious about this raising capital thing? Am I? Am I just saying it because everyone says they're doing it and it's cool to say I'm raising capital? Or is this like truly my goal to raise money? Truly. Like you just got to be honest with yourself. Stop dilly-dallying, stop skipping around. I almost say the F word, but I'm like, oh, but stop skipping around. Be honest with yourself. It's time to grow up and get serious, because there's so much people who are committing to what they're doing and they're growing, and then you see them and they're like, and you're like, why can't I be like this person? But guess what? Here's a difference. They committed. That is it. My word for this year is to commit. So if I want to grow my business as being a capital raiser, again, it's a business of raising X amount of money. I'm committing to doing whatever it takes to raise that. Right? So you need this if time is also your most valuable asset. Stop wasting on manual tasks. I value my time. I truly do. I value other people's time, especially lenders who schedule time with me. If it's a 15-minute call, it's going to be a 15-minute call. So I value my time. So without automation, this may be you, right? You're spending hours trying to keep up with your lenders. You're losing out on so many big deals because you're rushing, you're running down every single deal that come your way. There's no strategy. There's no intention behind it. You're having pointless conversations, Zoom calls with people. There's no intention behind it. And then you get frustrated because you have all these leads in spreadsheet, sticky notes, scattered emails, and you get frustrated. Oh, I'm not doing enough. Oh my God, I'm sick and tired of this. Oh my God, I need this. All of this combined. But here's the beauty. If you get automation, and when you implement automation, it's more deals closed, which means more money being raised, because now you're being intentional. Stronger relationship with lenders, and you're not just messaging them or emailing them when you need money. And you get repeat investors because you're now nurturing those relationships. And you can focus on big picture. Focus on that really big picture so you can scale your business. I had an automation went out the other day, and it was just to say something about let's catch up and all that stuff. I don't want to talk about deals, but I really just want to see what you got going on, blah, blah, blah. It had the only time I remember that email went out, someone responded and be like, hey, we really haven't catched up. I just booked a meeting on your calendar. I was like, huh? And I had to check the previous email and realize there was an follow-up automation that was set up for that lead. I haven't spoken to that lead since when we spoke the other day. He's like, oh, I haven't spoken to you since like August of 2024. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. But I remember I was telling you that I'm taking a break and I'll be back, but I was getting your emails. Would I for system? Who's ready to stop chasing these and just start closing? Like, it's all about closing more deals in 2025. I almost said 2020, but it's all about closing more deals intentionally. We got to be very strategic now, because you can do so much in the next 6 months if you intentionally and strategically be like, okay, I'm really going to raise capital. And it starts from finding your leads and nurturing those relationships, right? So for those who were either shy for raising their hands, trying to win the system, I'm gonna give you an overview of what it is about. You get your custom lead magnet, everything that I shared, right? That intake form, that's $1,500 in value. Like I know that. And you're going to see the stuff that I put in value because I've spent money, so much money. If I ever tell my mama how much money I've spent in masterminds and coaching, she'd be like, huh? What? Right? You get a 21-day email sequence so you can nurture and convert your leads. You're not sending a bulk emails, right? As well. Like it's staggered out as well. You get a follow-up automation, and that's another 21-day email strategy for you to track your lead. Plus, you can track your leads, right? And then you get Monday CRM set up. This, I think it's 2,500 plus, because if you currently like Monday and you try to hire Monday to fix this up for you, it's 2,500. Ask me how I know this, because I almost hired them to do it. And I was like, heck no. I got too much expenses, right? You also get a 1-hour strategy call with me. What does that mean? I will show you other things of how other ways I use a system that I did not include that you can also use and implement in your business. Literally. Because a lot of times I value my time and I want to hear what your goal is and what you're planning to do. So I want to show you, based on your problem and your needs, how you can really maximize this entire funnel. Not to mention a bonus, you do get that LinkedIn lead tracker outreach that I mentioned. So you can have the PML script as well, how to structure your calls, how to track your LinkedIn leads, the whole guide on how to do outreach with your LinkedIn, all that good stuff. This is like a ton of value. Like I know this deep down, I was going to say deep down, but deep down, this is a ton of value. And if you guys should hire someone else to fix it up, it will take time, right? But I, again, value my time and I'm serious about capital raising. And with all of this amazing system that I've created, that's the value of it. And I could tell you, I know it's more than 5,000. Guys, I've spent over 100,000 in mentorship and coaching. I still am. There's coaching I'm paying $30,000 a year to be in. And I'm seeing what they're doing and be like, oh, I can take this. So we're shortening that learning curve. Because then you don't have to go pay that 30K a year. But I commit. It's something that I want when it comes on to raising capital. So I'm doing it. And I'm taking that and I'm like, how can I not dumb it down just for someone who's just starting out? I don't want to overcomplicate it for myself either. So I'm offering this beautiful system. I think this, of all the things that I've done, this is my baby. I get super excited about this. You see how nerds get excited about coding? And it's funny because I hate systems, which is insane. But Monday makes me love system. And all of this entire system is for $297. If this isn't a deal, then I don't know what is. You don't have to set up nothing for yourself. Nothing. You don't have to set up. You are just responsible for your Monday subscription. And our team go in and we set up everything for you. So, and you get your onboarding session. And the moment you do your session, you just can go in and start. The funnel is working. Easy peasy, right? So that is in itself is a steal. So if you're like, still be like, do I really want this? Go get it. Do you value your time? Go get it. Are you serious about raising money? Go get it. Go get it. So if you're serious about raising capital and you need automation and you need a scale because that is your goal for 2025, let's get you set up, right? Let's get you set up. So I'll leave this on the screen. So if you scan that, it will take you to where you can get the whole funnel, right? It will take you there as well where you can get it. I'll leave it on the screen. And once you do that, it will give you like a set of instructions. It will give you access to our Skool platform that's there. And it will give you step-by-step instructions on how to get it. I will also drop the link in the chat as well, so you guys can save it because I'm about to like stop screen share just right now. All right. Some guys.
You?
That's the best. I think that was the easiest way for me to do it because you guys you're I know you guys personally as well, and you guys are just starting your journey with the raising money, and I think it can be a great option for you as well. Um, but you guys will love it. I think Claudia is in the group as well, so I think she will automatically gets it too. Now that I think about it, but thank you guys for joining. Actually, before I run, I didn't do Q&A
Yeah.
questions.
So I have a lot of questions. Maybe not a
Oh,
lot of questions. I got a few questions. We'll just
okay,
say
go.
that. Website attachment for the intake form, is that part of the CRM?
So you can do a website on Monday, but if you have a website outside of it, you can copy the form. There's a link and you can plant it on your website. That way, if you have like a button to say invest with me, then it will take them to that intake form.
Okay. Are you making calls and texts through Monday platform for the leads?
No, but you can. If you have Twilio account, you can connect your Twilio account and do that as well. I don't do text, believe it or not. A lot of my lenders love seeing a blue bubble.
Okay.
Mhm.
Email campaigns, you did kind of talk about that. You says 21-day email campaign. Is that already structured inside the?
Yes. That is already structured, and you can always go in and do a whole different campaign and build a whole different campaign for yourself.
Okay.
Mhm.
Funds deployed to where? Because you mentioned about funds being deployed. Where do you typically have them deployed to? Is it escrow, title,
Oh,
lawyers?
so in the system, when it talks about funds deployed, it means their funds are deployed.
Okay.
So their funds are deployed, and then what you do if they're like, hey, my funds are deployed, but I should get it back in 7 months. You look at the time you had a conversation with him, and 7 months, you update the system. Like my next contact for this lead is 7 months out.
Okay.
Mhm.
We'll talk more when we get on the phone.
Okay.
How do lenders upgrade their level of commitment through Monday? Like, say if they say, okay, I can only start at 50,000, and
Mhm.
then the third 90 days they want to upgrade to 150,000. Is there a way for them to be able to do that?
No, that's something that they're not able to do. What you will do, because I do this with my deals, I put it in my notes section. So if they want to start off with $50,000 now and they're like another 100,000 in 3 months, my next contact will be by 2.5 months to follow up with them to see if they still want to invest that 150. Because as much as we can automate stuff with PML outreach, you have to spend time as well with those relationships. The automation help you to get rid of the manual tasks, but you have to get on the phone with them too.
Okay, we'll
Mhm.
talk more about that too.
Okay.
Will there be more training on using the system?
Yeah. Let me correct that. So once you get the system, you have guidance in Skool of how to use the different things. So there's a bunch of different videos on how to do that as well. So even after you're like, hey, I forgot how to do this, there's trainings there when you can always go back and watch the video.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do you have a VA referral?
Right now, no. However, there was someone that posted in the school, the free school group that mentioned two persons actually that mentioned they have a VA who has some availability. So I'll say go in the school group and type in VA and you will see it's two most recent posts for someone who has one.
Okay. And when it comes to VAs, do you typically do like a video walkthrough for them to know what to do, or do you just,
Yes, you
okay,
have to. You have to do an onboarding training. It's gonna be a lot. They won't get it the first week,
right.
2 week. For my VA as well, I do onboarding training. So maybe the first week is all training for them. Anything that I do, I try to record and explain it to them. I'm on Zooms with them 2 to 3 hours, just going over stuff for them to ask me questions. And I give them a whole month for them to fully understand what they're doing.
Okay. We'll talk more about that as well.
Love it. Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Those are some good questions. All
I
right,
gotta be
perfect.
ready. I told you I got $2.6 million I gotta raise.
No, I love it. No, I appreciate you guys for showing up, staying on, and for supporting me. A lot of you like are, I think the familiar. I'm not familiar with Matthew on the call. So hi, Matthew. Thanks for joining. But thank you guys for joining in the entire time. I hope you found value, and I hope this also inspire you to truly commit to doing this capital raising thing and being intentional and being very, very strategic when it comes on to raising money, because there is power in automation. There is power in it. You have to get with it if you want to scale as well your business. You cannot do things manually. Every top CEO that you see out there, they have a team. And that team, they have a whole system that they're all following, because that is what will help us to be more efficient and grow more, to scale more, and just let our business skyrocket, right? So tell your friends, listen, tell people about it who you know that maybe struggling with raising capital as well. But like, hey, I know this system, check it out. It will be a great fit. I'm also going to have this recording on YouTube, so you guys can always share it as well. Go comment as well after the fact. Hopefully I post it soon. But thank you guys for showing up. I hope you guys have a fantastic, fantastic night and a great